Hello, folks. How are we doing? It is still the 18th day of August, 2022. It's about 4:30 in the afternoon on Thursday. Rain is coming, according to that little thing down there in the bottom right-hand corner of my screen. But it's nice outside. Rain is always coming this time of year down here in Tampa, Florida. Doesn't take a genius or a global warming expert to figure that one out. What I thought I would show you this to start off with. I received this today. I had set up an American Everyman brand new tube channel. And then subsequently, for one reason or another, I abandoned it. They wanted donations or some fucking shit, so I tried several times to upload and wasn't able to do it. It doesn't matter why. The point is, I think the channel exists. I don't know if I even was able to upload a single video to it. Maybe I did. Maybe one or two. I don't know. It was several years ago. But I received this today from someone named Thrax and Fuckery. And they signed it Greets. What is the deal now with just fucking abandoning the English language? People don't realize, they come in and knock down your fucking statues and they tear down your fucking history and they tell you to rewrite your history and rethink your history to make it more service to equity. They don't even consider the fact that destruction of language is part and parcel of that same fucking program. Greets, says Thrax and Fuckery. You can read it for yourselves. Basically, they're telling me that my data was breached. And then it was published someplace on HTTPS breached to thread brand new tube August 2022. Apparently it was done twice and I never realized it. I blacked out the IP address that they identify as mine, my password hash, and my password. I've blacked out those. However, I can tell you that at least the password for my, I can't tell you I don't know what my IP address is, but I can tell you that it's accurate for my password for brand new tube. I had to look it up. So apparently, a bunch of people had their data compromised 3 times, according to this. And apparently, the people who run Brand New Tube really didn't give a shit. Again, according to these people, I don't know. I went to Brand New Tube to see if I could just delete that thing. Come to find out, Brand New Tube is down for quote-unquote maintenance. Oh, Jesus Christ. You can't trust nobody these days. So if anything pops up on Brand New Tube, like, I don't know, a manifesto, it's not mine. I am here to tell you right now, I'm not posting anything on Brand New Tube. I started up account 2 years ago or so when I was kicked off of YouTube the last time. I might have put one video up. But no, there's no manifesto. There's no plans to fucking kidnap fucking Gretchen Whitmer. There's none of that. There's no video of me with a fucking mask on that you can't really tell. It looks like me. It doesn't look like me. Some dude running around with a pillow in his fucking shirt, trying to pretend it's me. With an AK-47. I don't buy guns. I don't own guns. I don't want guns. You can have as many as you want. That's your fucking right. Me? No. Thanks. No videos of me making bombs. Don't know how to make bombs. Don't want to make bombs. Have no intention of bombs. Photobomb occasionally. But that's about it. So, just so you know, don't know what this is. Don't know why. This is the first I've heard of it. But if something starts popping up on fucking brand new tube, it ain't me. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. Hi. Wasn't going to make this video. I was in the process of making another video, which you'll have to wait till tomorrow to see. That's the one on the FBI, the glorious FBI. And this trial taking place, the retrial taking place, of the people, and they said plotted to kill, planned to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer, or whatever her name is, for some fucking reason. And it was completely manufactured. And I'm just going back over some of the history, the glorious history of the FBI manufacturing shit like this. When I see those white supremacists marching up and down the square in the masks, all wearing the same outfits that the recruits wear at the FBI training academy. Oh, just down the street in some cases when they're out in Washington. There's a reason. I get the feeling they just snatched the fucking recruits and said, okay, we're going to do this little, go on a field trip. And you're going to pretend to be evil fucking white supremacists. There's a reason I said that. There's a good reason I said that. Because, and fucking Tucker Carlson sitting around going, what the heck is this? I don't understand this. This is crazy. This just blows my mind. What kind of world are we living in? What kind of world has he been watching? Because his own fucking network, Judge Napolitano, over 10 years ago, primetime fucking Fox News, came out and said the 17 fucking cases where the FBI has thwarted a terrorist attack from the evil Muslims in America, they manufactured all fucking 17 of them. All 17. All 17. That was over a decade ago. And that's Tucker's own fucking network. And now Tucker's acting as if, oh my God. Here's the difference. Now, the number one threat, supposedly, is white supremacists. Whereas back then, it was the evil Muslims. And of course, with his fucking bow tie, he was all on board hating on the evil Muslims. Because he's such a fucking truth teller, that Tucker Carlson. And his daddy, who was it Voice of America? I don't know. A fucking propagandist who made up lies and stirred up shit in other countries, much like, the FBI's doing here. Anyway, that's tomorrow. Tune in. Today, we're going to talk about another report about how China is now using the Uighurs in Xinjiang, if I pronounced that correctly. I'm sorry if I did not. As slaves. They're slaves. Or you can think of it as slaves. That's how the fucking phrasing in the new UN report from a special rapporteur is phrased. You can think of it this way if you like. And that's getting a lot of attention. A bunch of attention. Everyone said, oh my God, they're slaves. Before it was an extermination camp. They were being kept in extermination camps. Now they're slaves. And that's getting all the attention in the Western media. It's everywhere. This new report from a special rapporteur. Of course, what they aren't telling you, and what this is probably designed to cover up for, is the fact that, a week ago, a week and a half ago, representatives of Muslim countries went to Xinjiang. And again, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. They went there and they decided to spend 5 days and see how the Uyghurs are being treated. Turns out they were being treated just fine. Representatives of Muslim countries. Uyghurs are Muslims. And turns out many of those Muslim countries are actually in bed doing business with us, including Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, a number of fucking Muslim countries. How many? 30. As in 30. 30. 30. And that was just on the 8th or the 9th of this month. They were in Xinjiang from the 1st to the 5th, and then they put together their report that said all this bullshit World Uighur Congress, CIA-backed fucking, and Adrian Len's fucking propaganda was bullshit. So, of course, the press won't touch that, but they got a special rapporteur to cobble together some bullshit and release a report as cover for that to say, well, you can consider it slave labor if you want. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. Let me just check and make sure I am recording. Don't know these days with these. Okay, that's good. We are recording. Let's take a look. Let's start off with Ambassador Mark R. Stanley. He is the ambassador, U.S. ambassador to Argentina. He came out and wrote we met with at Uighur Congress. That's when I told you World Uighur Congress is a CIA operation. CIA operation. Here it is right here. World Uighur Congress is a CIA operation used to try to destabilize China from the inside, especially that area, that autonomous region, try to get them to break away from China, like we did with, Hong Kong and Taiwan. They also were funding and promoting and working with the separatists, Uyghur separatists, and the terrorist organizations. Not all Uyghurs, obviously, in the region are separatists, and certainly very, very few are actually terrorists. But the ones that were, they worked with World Uighur Congress, and now, apparently, by extension, Mark R. Stanley. Who is he? Mark R. Stanley is a lawyer with a business administration degree. Look at that big smile on his face. Look at that big smile on his face. He's smiling because he gave a bunch of money to the Joe Biden campaign. When Joe Biden won, he rewarded him with an ambassadorship. He's from Texas. He's also big as chairman with the National Jewish Democratic Council. That's a lobbying group, one of the organizations that AIPAC uses to pump money into candidates in Washington to get them to do the bidding of Israel. It says so right there. Right there. That's what it says. That's old Mark Stanley. We met with the Uighur Congress leaders to learn more about their call for an end to the ongoing genocide and crimes against humanity against the Uyghurs and other minority groups in Xinjiang. The U.S. continues to support Uyghurs in their struggle for human rights and dignity. No, actually, they don't. If they did, that would be the first group they actually did that with. Including, women in this country, blacks in this country, gays in this country, whites in this country, working people in this country. And the list goes on and on. What is he all excited about? He's all excited about this. Woo! UN expert concludes forced labor has taken place in Xinjiang. Well, that's not exactly how he put it. This came out today, August 18th, 2022. Getting a lot of attention. Let me read a bit of this for you. Quote, it is reasonable to conclude that forced labor of members of minority groups has taken place in China's western Xinjiang region. The UN's top expert on slavery said in a report released this week, prompting a fierce response from Beijing. The findings were based on an independent assessment of available information. The United Nations Special Rapporteur on Contemporary Forms of Slavery, Toyama Obokata, said in a report that he shared on his Twitter account on Tuesday. The Special Rapporteur regards, the Special Rapporteur regards it as reasonable to conclude that forced labor among Uighur and Kazakh and other ethnic minorities in sections such as agriculture and manufacture has been occurring in the Xinjiang Uighur Autonomous Region of China, it said. Of course, going further with this article, this is the one from Reuters, China rejects all accusations of abuse of Uyghurs and other Muslim minority groups in Xinjiang. The report, dated July 19th, is publicly available. They backdated it, obviously, in UN Documents Library. Two distinct state-mandated systems exist in Xinjiang, it said. A vocational skills education and training center program, where minorities are detained and subjected to work placements, and a poverty alleviation through labor transfer system involving rural workers. Quote, while these programs may create employment opportunities for minors and enhance their incomes, as claimed by the government, the Special Rapporteur considers that indicators of forced labor pointing to the involuntary nature of work rendered by affected communities has been present in many cases. In many cases. How many? Many. How many? Many. What is many? Many is technically two or more. What did he say? He said, you can look at it that these programs create employment opportunities for minorities and enhance their income. That's one way to look at it. That's one way to look at it. The programs could create opportunities for minorities and enhance their income. China has raised more people out of poverty in their one country in the last fucking 10 years than have been raised out of poverty across the fucking world. That's a fact. But we hate China. China. You can fully expect this to be on Tucker Carlson right after he does a show with a segment with Max Blumenthal and Jimmy Dore. And then he'll come out there and talk about this Special Rapporteur report demonizing China. It's reasonable to conclude. What does that mean? What does that mean, reasonable to conclude? Sounds like weasel words to me. This is a tour that was on to take a look at the re-education camps. The Uyghur re-education camps. Oh, Lordy God. This is from Time Magazine, written originally from Bloomberg, January 7th, 2019. Quote, diplomats from 12 countries with large Muslim populations visited Xinjiang after months of silence by governments across the Islamic world in the face of China's crackdown on minority Muslim Uyghurs in its far western region. Envoys from Russia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, India, Pakistan, Indonesia, Malaysia, Afghanistan, Thailand, and Kuwait visited the region from December 28th to December 30th. Back in 2019, they only spent 3 days. 2020, 5 days. 12 countries, then 30 countries today. What were their conclusions? Quote, in Xinjiang's Haitian district last month, not Haitian district, but that's how I pronounce it, diplomats visited one of what the Chinese government calls a vocational skills center, but which the United Nations and rights groups are saying are re-education camps, interning as many as 1 million Muslims. At the Moyu Community Vocation Skills Education and Training Center, quote, students are studying the national language, national musical instruments, calligraphy and painting, legal knowledge, and various employment skills in the classroom, Xinhua said. Xinhua being the official newspaper of the Chinese government. The envoys asked the students about their study and life in detail and watched performances by the students. Xinjiang is an open place, Chinese Foreign Minister spokesman Liu Kang said in a briefing in Beijing on Monday, back in 2019. But he cautioned those who would visit to abide by the purposes and principles of the UN Charter and refrain from interfering in others' international affairs or undermining others' sovereignty. So they said, you know what, now back in 2019 when they were pushing this Uyghur thing the first time, they said, come on by, have a look. And 12 countries did back in 2019. In 2022, 30 showed up. This, of course, is from CGTN. Oh my God, Scott, that's a Chinese thing. Oh my God, how dare you? How dare you, Scott? It's propaganda. This is from the Morning Star. August 8th, 2022. Islamic envoys say China is protecting minorities in Xinjiang after a 5-day visit. Quote, envoys from 30 Islamic countries said they believe China is protecting the rights of Uyghur population in the semi-autonomous Xinjiang region after a 5-day visit. Diplomats from, God damn it, this fucking monitor. Diplomats from countries including Algeria, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Yemen, Pakistan visited Xinjiang's capital, Urumqi, along with Kashgar and Aksu prefectures from August the 1st to the 5th. They were invited by Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The fruit here is so sweet, just like the life of the people here, said this Algerian ambassador to China. Mr. Rabihi, sorry, but that looks like Rabihi to me, said he got to know the real situation of the people in northwest Chinese province, and contrary to claims made by Western governments, the rights of all ethnic groups are well protected. The U.S. and its allies have taken up claims by Uyghur separatist groups that China has imprisoned large numbers of Uyghurs, suppressed their culture, and sterilized women to suppress birth rate. The evidence provided for these claims have been hotly contested, emanating from limited sources, including anti-China evangelist Adrian Zenz, who I mentioned before, and of course the CIA-backed World Uyghur Congress. Who? The World Uyghur Congress. Few Muslim countries have accepted the accusations. In a letter signed by 45 Muslim countries in 2022, said it is an imperative to respect the basic facts rather than making unfounded allegations against China and interfere out of political motivations and bias. So, this happened in 2019. This also happened in 2022, August the 8th. They were there from the 1st to the 5th. They put together their report. Representatives from 30 nations saying that's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. And I guarantee you're going to hear that bullshit on fucking Tucker Carlson. In spite of the fact that the reality is the best they could come up with was it's reasonable to conclude that there's slaves, 1 million slaves, 1 million Uyghur slaves in Xinjiang. In spite of the fact that their own report also says, yeah, it could be that it's a program that creates employment opportunities for minorities and enhances their incomes. That's possible. They may create employment. In fact, they do. Yeah, there you go. Either that, or you can go with the story that leaders of 30 Muslim countries all decided to lie and protect the death camps of Muslims in fucking China, which I don't think is happening. It's ridiculous. But you know which way, they're going to go with this story. Oh, I'm sorry. Now, here's what's funny. Now, this story comes from this dude who is the United Nations Special Rapporteur on Contemporary Forms of Slavery. However, it's an interesting story in here about a previous UN. Here you go. Earlier this year, now this is also from the 2002 article. Earlier this year, United Nations Human Rights Commissioner, God damn this monitor. Earlier this year, United Nations Human Rights Commissioner Michelle Bachelet resigned after she came under intense pressure following a visit to China. She was criticized for failing to find evidence of human rights abuses in China, including a genocide of the Uighur community. Anti-China NGOs had long determined she visited Xinjiang to check allegations of mass incarceration of Uyghurs, but dismissed the visit as a Chinese propaganda stunt as soon as it was agreed. Her resignation was celebrated by the World Uighur Congress. This guy's World Uighur Congress, that World Uighur Congress, the CIA's World Uighur Congress. Her resignation was celebrated by the World Uighur Congress. Its advisor, Luke Pulford, said that a Uyghur-led campaign had achieved its goal. They fired her. They fired her because she went back and reported the truth about what was happening in Xinjiang. And people go, oh my God, the United Nations. Tucker Carlson will tell you 15 times in a night, the United Nations controlled, bought up, like he says the same thing about fucking the World Health Organization. Controlled by China. This woman lost her fucking job because she told the truth about what was happening in fucking Xinjiang. Lost her job this year. Michelle Bachelet, United Nations Human Rights Commissioner. She loses her job because she goes there and tells people what she actually sees. And so this guy comes along and makes up some bullshit and says, well, it's reasonable to conclude that they're all slaves in Xinjiang. Or you could look at it like, well, the programs are creating employment opportunities for minorities and enhancing their incomes. The toss up. That guy knows how to keep a job. She didn't. She told the fucking truth. The truth ain't what they were looking for over at the UN. That's what you get. One guy's hailed as a fucking hero by the UN and the Western media and Western press for lying. And one woman is fired for telling the truth. Anyway, you'll see more about that story in the press the next couple of days, and you'll probably hear it on fucking Tucker Carlson. I just wanted you to know what the truth was. Either you think that the leaders of 30 Muslim countries don't care if fucking China's enslaved 1 million Muslims in fucking Xinjiang and keeping them in extermination camps, or you believe that these pieces of shit are lying motherfuckers because once again they're trying to destabilize another country. It's like he said. It's like the UN expert said. You can make your own choice. It's reasonable to pick one over the other, I guess. In his case, it was reasonable because he kept his fucking job.